Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Top of the morning. We're still in Florianopolis, Brazil, but we moved to a different place. We're inside for this first one, although the window is open,
When I move, you move.
just like that.
All right. So today, Hans, you brought this up.
Yes.
What is the difference between a friend and an ally?
Well, I wanna ask you, because you introduced the term of being an ally, allyship, alliance, and how it is a better way of being with the other compared to friendship. There's a difference there, and I've been using it too with guys and with women, and proposing them something higher, proposing to them to be an ally for them. But so far, I've been using it loosely and just saying what it means to be an ally is to hold you to your greatness. What it means to be an ally is also to call you out on your bullshit. But I'm interested in how you see the difference between being an ally and being a friend, so I can understand that more of what it is, what it entails, both with women and with the guys that we're working with. So what would you say is the difference between an ally and a friend?
Yeah, well, and my focus will be on the men today. You know, I think it's these times we're living in, it's important to have allies, you know. Really great to have women in your life who are an ally, who see the greatness in you, call you to your greatness. But also just as, who are the men that surround us? Do they call us to rise up, or do they call us to come down a level? And I think in general, that's one of the big differences between friends and allies. To see, let's say you have your group of friends and you really raise the bar in your life. You say, all right, I'm going for this and I'm holding myself to this. All of a sudden that is not comfortable for your friends to be around, because they're playing, you know, they're used to playing at the same level. Friends typically mean guys who hang out and you're all comfortable together and you all accept each other. And the moment someone like really fucking goes for it, it's like, come on, man, who is that guy? It's uncomfortable for the friend group, because now they're in the presence of someone who's holding themselves to a higher standard. And in his presence, they could be looked down upon. They could see themselves as less.
I feel shame.
And so the easier thing to do than step up and meet him up there is to talk shit about him, joke about it, laugh about it, and then maybe he'll say, screw my dreams, screw the higher standards, I'm going to come back to this friend level and keep my friendship. So
if the friend, I'm pushing you now a little bit, but if the friend accepts you who you are, the ally doesn't accept you who you are.
well, the question is, who are you?
Right.
You know, who are you? Are you the you that you're thinking you are when you're making compromises in your life? When you're tolerating, when you're not present to what really matters to you, when you're not stepping up and being a man or doing what you know there is to do for that really matters to you, for your friends, for your people, for your health, for your finances, etc. And so an ally holds that you are that great self within you, that limitless self, that the best man that you could be, and that's how they relate to you. They whereas the friends relate to you on a level that's much more comfortable for them.
So it's what I hear is that in an alliance, what you see as pivotal or at the core of, say, the being, me or the other, is that they're in constant evolution, transformation, upgrading towards being greater.
Yeah, and it's not really about changing who you are as much as it is simply remembering who you really are, right? So it's a more of like a remembering into, oh yes, this is my standard, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is my vision, etc. So it's, as we've spent the last, couple months here, I'm always talking about like awakening, staying awake, integrating, and pulling back the vision, pulling it back together, because it slips away, it's so easy to forget the vision that you had when you were most awake. It's so easy to forget the stand that you are for your people. And especially if it's bigger, far bigger than the level that you've been playing at. So it's really powerful to have allies who will remind you and who will call you to be that. But it's very rare. It's very rare. And people hire coaches and these sorts of things. And a great coach will really see you as that, to use a sports metaphor, like the champ. And that's how he's going to interact with you. And that's why it feels good. And that's why you want to step up. And that's why you want, a lot of reasons why people move forward when they have a coach is because the coach sees him for his greatness. And he wants to maintain how the coach sees him. He wants to live up to that. And people will pay a lot of money to have a great coach. But you can also have allies. Imagine, like, you don't have a coach, you have a bunch of people. They all, like, let's say they're, on the championship team, and they're all like Michael Jordan level players on the team, holding themselves and each other to a really high standard.
That's funny, because I actually just saw the beginning of a video about the Bulls, and how they had incredible, well, they call it leadership in a way, but they had like several leaders, which comes down to they were allies, And it was a very funny, particular, particular team in the way they were all like high. I mean, Jordan was maybe the number one, but
right.
Yeah, it's funny to see.
So in 1997, me with my younger brothers, I split my landscaping business up into 3 pieces based on different neighborhoods, different regions of Austin, and which was great. So they each now have a little business to run and grow. So as they're learning about business, they apply it directly. They make more money. It's really exciting. They're going from being low-level employees to all of a sudden they're running something, and the choices they make, the standards that they hold, the policies they implement in their business, they all have a financial outcome to how much they're going to make this week, to how much they're going to make this year, to how much the business is going to be worth, and they're growing as entrepreneurs. And we each have our own business, so 4 entrepreneurs, and we come together as allies for several different ways of interacting. And in my I was staying on West Campus in Austin, and I had an apartment on West Campus, so it's mostly students around. But the apartment there was a back office and a front office and a hallway, a bathroom, and a kitchen. There was no bed, there was no place to sleep or relax. Everything was intense. And as soon as you open the front door, what you see is a floor to ceiling mural, black silhouette, the man with his fist in the air, from his torso up. It's just like, boom, And everything, we've talked about the power of reflection, but everything was about that. There's no excuses, no limitations, period. We shamed rationalizing. We shamed excuse making. Excuse making is rationalizing. And we shamed moments of self-doubt. Like you just doubted yourself, and it was like we allow no weakness in ourselves or between us. And the level at which we grew that year was so fast and so exciting.
You just doubted yourself, did I?
But and in that front office, those 4 walls, and each ally had a wall, and the entire wall was theirs, and that all the walls were done in black. So put black, paper all around the walls except for this mural with the guy with the fist in the air. And each guy can plaster it with his vision. So normally people might have these things that become popular, like vision boards. This was like a vision wall. So, and it's, and this is not like politically correct vision wall. This is fucking everything that a young guy is dreaming of, wants to be, whatever. And it was so fun, man. It was a level of intensity, and the growth was so fast. It was just so fun. But let me say this about friend versus ally, because first and foremost, I was their ally as their older brother. And their father didn't have a role in their life at this point in time, and their mother didn't at this point in time. And it's like, who is there to bring these guys up, And to me, like, going from low-level employee to entrepreneur is like a huge leap. This is like becoming a man, because it's assuming a high-level responsibility. You're selling, you're making contracts, you're hiring people, you're firing people, you're in control of your future and your vision, and the more that you level up, the more that now you have possibly payroll to make, you have other people counting on you. It's a huge level of responsibility, but responsibility with vision, excitement, the rewards, all of it. And then most entrepreneurs are by themselves. You can't really be fully open with your employees, with your investors, with your whatever. Everyone's looking, they need you to play this role. And so to come together just as entrepreneurs together, all on the same playing field, and challenge the hell out of each other, it was so exciting. And but I viewed it like as my role. So in part, like, to me, ally is the role of older brother or father, in the sense that you want to raise up your allies, and it's very much a tough love kind of thing a lot of the time. But at the same time, we had the very bottom of the barrel locker room talk, just guys hanging out and just brothers. We had all of it, and it was beautiful.
So I hear intense, I hear challenging, I hear tough love. And these give more of an insight in what it means to be an ally. But what would be great, and maybe this is not the time, maybe is to really pinpoint what the difference is between being a friend and being an ally, in like who you are for the other, but also like in the action that you take in certain situations. That would be great to know. How would the friend react here? How would the ally react? And then show, like, say, 3, 5, 10, whatever differences of what it means to be a friend and what it means to be an ally.
Yeah, well, I've got something that I call the 16 like ally distinctions, and there's ways that. So let me give one of them. As an ally. Like, and it's actually alliance distinctions, not ally distinctions. So it's like it speaks about it for both people, and it's powerful to look at those distinctions and think about what each of them means, because they're very subtly different. But what it is it pinpoints ways or situations to which you might back down and not be my ally. And it's like, no, even in the face of that, you stand for being my ally, or I stand for being your ally. So for example, one of them applied might be, so let's say we have some kind of alliance, we're allies, and you feel like, wow, like, Michael's really doing great, he's making a lot of money, but I see how he could be doing even better. Let's say you're not making as much money or something, and you feel like, well, you're like, who am I to challenge him at this level? Because I'm playing this level. And so you don't call me out to that higher level. Like, that's you not being my ally in that situation. So even in the face of your weakness or feeling less than or whatever, like, that's not an excuse not to challenge me to rise to a higher level. the same thing could be applied. Let's say you're playing at this level, you're making this much more money and everything else, and I'm down here, and you're thinking maybe, well, I don't want to make him look small. I don't want to shame him. I don't want to... No! You still challenge me. You don't let that get in the way either. And so there's like no excuse is acceptable to not call your people, your allies, to rise to this level. And you might, another situation might be, well, you realize, well, fuck, if I call Michael to this level, he might call me to this level. And I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. So I'm not going to call Michael out because I don't want to be called out.
With your brothers, for example, or with John McMahon, was there like, do you announce, I'll show up as your ally, or are you just the ally, or do you both commit to being each other's ally?
With my brothers, we were all allies. It was we were all in it together. With John McMahon, there was not that kind of agreement. There wasn't. We weren't playing at that level. We weren't.
Let's go to your brothers. Did you then say? Did you kind of like you exchange vows in a way? Like you say, I'm your ally. I'm your ally. You stand in a group. Did you cut your fingers? Let the blood.
No, there wasn't any kind of. I remember something about that, but I don't think so.
Because I see in practical terms.
And the kind of like the vows that we do now, that hadn't yet evolved to that at that point. But it was very clear that we are allies, and there was just. And one of the things that was there is, if you, so we talked the other day about tolerating, like no tolerating. Like what if the standard was no, tolerate nothing, right? We had a standard that was no rationalizing, like no excuse making. Someone challenges you in a certain way or calls you out or, has you confront yourself in the difference between what you say and what you do. There's no rationalizing. There's no excuse making. If you want to deal with the pressure of that situation, you take that fire and you turn it into an upgrade in your life. You use the pressure to raise up, you don't put the pressure back on the brother and then make an excuse and then, I don't want to face that. And later this became what I put inside of the boot camps or the I stands. In the very beginning, in the context setting of the game we're going to play, most people, when you shine the light on them, they want to shift it away. And so, but the most powerful thing is bring the light and use the light to fuel you into a powerful upgrade and taking more responsibility in your life. So we had ways of doing that.
Yeah. What I see is like to really understand, because here's what I see. A lot of people, me, we're going to use the word ally and think we know what it means when it gets messy in very practical situations where, say, imagine you're not brothers and one says, no rationalization, and you agree, and the other says, don't bring shame to me, whatever. You can see conflicts there, and that's why I think what it means to be an ally and how you would be an ally with someone is something that, if it's new, that would benefit from clear commitments, clear measures, And what I think is the great advantage that you have with your brothers is that you went back for them, so they know you care. So they know that you want them to thrive, And so either you solve that by having clear vows and exchange that, or you are the one who really cares. You understand what I mean? So because you are the one who really cares, and I feel that with you too, there's still like moments that I think, the fuck, you know, is he like holding myself to the higher, or is he just making for himself an excuse, you know, so he could say whatever he wants.
Yes.
And you know,
Yes.
and that's where I'm like, okay, what does it mean here to be an ally?
Yes.
And it's in that moment not solved by saying we're holding each other to a higher standard. It's in that moment not solved by a simple rule as like no
What do you
rationalization.
mean it's not solved?
Like in that specific moment, I am not sure. I know that in a larger sense you're an ally, you know, but it could be in that moment that you're using that even to rationalize yourself, your own kind of behavior.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and so it's not solved by saying.
And then the
we're
question
allies.
is, and who are you?
Yes.
In the face of that?
Yes. So it's not solved by knowing that we're allies for each other.
I will always rise. Just so you know, I will always rise up when confronted. We play around, and there's times when I don't want to face something or whatever,
Yes.
like anyone. But you know, in the bigger context, I am. But yeah, in the particular. Now, I don't think that that's the game that we're playing. Is no rationalizing.
Right.
For example.
That's exactly what I mean. You gotta what's great is that you agree on a game to play.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And
So later on, you know, after this period of months with my brothers, because it only lasted for a period of, you know, it was less than 6 months, and then there became a kind of a dynamic in the family where it was much more of a friend dynamic. And they, in many ways, forgot the level we were playing at. They look back on it. You know, it's the difference between knowing and remembering, really being awake, right? And I'm holding fast to this vision, but their recollection of it is they got a story about it now. Oh, that was, you know, yeah, whatever we were doing. That was fun. That was crazy. But they're not like. So I held to it. I'm like, I'm gonna bring this into the world, and I'm going to hold the line. So eventually I did, and then came the boot camps and the ice stands. And the way that I put this into the ice stands is just that. Everyone agrees on the game that we're playing. So and you have a choice. Like if it's very clear, this is the game we're playing. If you don't want to play, you don't have to play. But this is the game we're playing. And if you don't play by the rules, here's how we're going to respond to you. And if you don't play by the rules when we call you out on not playing by the rules, you can't play. There's no drama about it. This is it. It's just like a game of football, for example, right? You break the rule, the ref gives you a penalty or whatever. If you don't want to go along with the penalty or whatever, like, okay, you have to get off the field, you know what I mean? You can't just stay and do whatever you want. This is a game. And so it's serious in the context
Yes.
of the game. In the bigger context, it's not so serious, but it's life, so it is serious in a way. Yeah.
so what I hear, just in summary, like what allyship proposes, if friendship is it is what it is, and you just connect, and it's like fun and whatever. What allyship or alliance or being an ally means is that you get together and you agree, or you show up in a certain way, or let's say alliance, you agree that you're gonna play a different, more high stake game. You agree on the game that you're gonna play. You agree on the rules within that. You agree on how you're gonna show up. You know, and being an ally means remembering the others. Hey, this is the game we agreed to play. This is the game we agreed to play.
Yes, and the way that we played it, like in the beginning, there was very much because if you confront me and I don't like how you do it, I might not respond well. So you could say, well, that's the responsibility of the person receiving it. Okay, so what if you don't like how I'm challenging you? Step up. Right, that's the ultimate level, really, is in the face of any kind of way someone's challenging you to step up. But what we did, especially in the beginning, is we said, okay, I noticed that you don't respond well when I challenge you like this. You tell me how to challenge you, and as your ally, I will try to remember to challenge you like this. And then when I do, you say how you want to respond, so that if I do challenge you like this, you also know you have an
Yes.
agreement to respond a certain way. And that was very powerful. But at the highest level, there's no excuse to not step up. And so, like, there's, and this is great, like, learning to play the ally game is a big step in being able to facilitate an event like the boot camps and the ice stands that I do. Because in those events, many times, like, the whole group can be clear about how I'm wrong, for example. Or, you know, someone in the group is confronted, or they become really dramatic, and they're weaving this story and this narration, and everyone can sympathize with them. Yeah, it's, you know, that's right, Michael Skye, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? And I have to stand in the face of that, and, like, I'm the one, if no one else, I know where we're going, and I help see them through their reaction, their weakness, their rationalizing, their drama, their whatever, and we make it to the promised land. And it's like the heavens open, and everyone's experienced itself being more powerful than they've ever have in their life, and it's great. But the ally, and I'm just having this realization right now that playing the ally game at a high level is great, like training to like lead an event like that. But
So did your brothers forget the game that you were playing? Or did they say the game is over? Or...
Well, in a way, they said the game was over because they were like, you know, Mike, we don't need you in this way right now. We got this, basically, with their business. So, I mean, after a while, they did got their business, right? Like, they didn't need the same kind of support after a while. And there was also a way to which the power of the alliance started to weaken. And so first it was just the four of us brothers. Then we invited in two sisters. And it was still really powerful. In fact, I think it was made more powerful initially. But in time, there were certain ways of interacting and challenging that the women in the group were not up for. It didn't resonate or whatever. And so you start kind of accommodating or whatever. And then eventually, and we had this voice networking technology that we used, which was a really powerful component of the alliance. And I mean, imagine being plugged into the matrix. You're out in the real world, you're surrounded by other people, but the reality you're living in is the alliance, you know. And you're playing at this level, and you're calling in to announce your upgrades, your big insights, your wins, your victories, challenging each other out. And every time you get on, it's like the voice is like a microphone, and you are Morpheus, basically, right? Calling your brothers out. And so it was cult-like in the sense that the reality that you're living in is not the reality everyone else is living in.
It's the new game.
So, but it's like any kind of like a fraternity or whatever. Right. When you're all with a group of people who are playing a certain game, the game that other people are playing doesn't matter as much. The game that matters is the game that you're all, you know.
Agreed upon.
Yeah. So now I want to just come back to something that you mentioned earlier. You know, if you're someone's ally, so this is where it got to for me. Okay, so you asked about my brothers. What happened to the alliance? Well, because it was kind of all tied together, the consulting I was doing with my brothers, the ways that we were being allies and all this, it was all kind of intertwined. And my one brother-in-law, Mark, he went off to Utah with my sister. And so things just kind of fell apart. And an alliance like that is a fragile thing. It's a really fragile thing. Why is that? Because one person and their narration can affect everyone else, how everyone else is seeing things and people's level of commitment and so forth. Whereas it can spiral up really powerfully, really fast as well. It's a fragile thing in that way. It's like, any kind of, you could even say like a cult or like a religion. Why do they ban people who all of a sudden are not believing or hanging out with the non-believers or whatever, because that one person can start to change everyone else's mindset and ideas, and they lose the faith. It's a fragile thing. So although I talk about this in terms of a cult, an alliance, it's not that, but it has a similar dynamic there.
Ça va? Non, merci. So what are the?
And what I was going to say is this: it then became my challenge. How can I be their ally, even though they're not playing the game?
So you don't need an alliance, but you show up as an ally.
Yes.
What was I going to ask? I was going to ask about the fragility of what did you learn in terms of alliance that were like the key components to make it work, the alliance? Because you had it with your brother maybe, and you could say you have that kind of natural more because you care so much. But what is in your time? What are the key components of a good alliance?
Well, first and foremost, it's you who takes full responsibility to being an ally and playing the game. No matter what the others do or don't do or whatever, it always comes back to you holding it high. So you view it as your alliance, not the alliance.
Right.
Because you can be tempted to think, okay, this is the community, the group, the alliance. No. I would call that a mistake, because that can easily lead to the downfall, because you're going to start putting responsibility on them. No, it's all you. You can challenge them, you can call them out, you can whatever, but to whatever extent they don't show up, they don't respond, whatever, you can use that as an excuse to you take it down a notch. Okay, they don't want this. Okay, they're not ready for this. Okay, they don't appreciate me. Whatever.
Well, that's an individual way of working, But if you talk in terms of the alliance, when someone is taking it down and a notch and not correcting it, not showing up, it's meant to fail. Like not being an ally, but be alliance. If we're saying, okay, the game we're playing, we're getting up at 6, say, so to speak, and I say, Michael, it's 6 o'clock, get up, and I say it 5 times and you're not getting up, and the next day again, there's nothing, in terms of the alliance, you need 2 to work.
Yes.
This is not a real example, because you're getting up an hour before.
Sure.
But,
well, you can say, because you do that 2 mornings in a row, and you start to say, well, Michael's not committed, he doesn't care, it's not important to him. But this is all your narrations.
Okay.
You're still forgetting. You're taking your level of in that scenario. You'd be taking your level of commitment down, and in an alliance, you don't do that.
Right.
You accept, so you come up. You make me get up. You whatever in the face of it all.
Right.
It's
But if in terms of the alliance, imagine that you've given up. And I keep going and I keep going and I keep going. At some point, it's going to end.
Well, at some point, it doesn't make sense for you to keep playing the same game in the same way and all of that.
The alliance, you need 2. Because you said you were 6 and it takes only 1 to bring it down because of a strong narration. So, and that's different with what
it also can only take 1 to hold it together. So, but part of the challenge, what I'm saying is that if you view it as the alliance, you need to have the distinction that it's my alliance, like I'm leading this, and I would suggest that for every person in the alliance, so to speak, it's my alliance. These 4 guys, I am the leader. Each, let's say me and my brothers, each of the 4, we are leaders of our own alliance. And we don't view it as the alliance. So there's a lot of kind of distinctions, and it is it's not the way human beings normally play together. So then there are a lot of potential pitfalls that when you play this kind of a game together and you're this intimately standing for each other, people's past traumas and vulnerabilities come up about their yeah, there are issues with their father. There are issues with intimacy, with being close to people, with authority. You know, like all of this is stuff that you need to deal with. But what's great is if you're committed, then you transcend all of those limitations and you evolve to become a more powerful person, more powerful leader. So
yeah, it's definitely like I was pushing for a definition or like a change with friendship, and I see the difference with it, and it's enough. Like there's enough distinctions now already to see that it is an upgrade from friendship. At the same time, you know, it is never solved. In a way, it is a practice. If for nothing else, you got to agree on the game you play, you know, and you got to get clear on what it is that it's like the law is
well,
formed case
yeah.
by
If
case.
if I mean, there's friendship, then there's being an ally, and then there's having an alliance. Let's say, right? So yeah, it's and that's, you know, what happened in '97. Having that alliance is what I've always been fighting to get back to. And at different points, I've had it with different people to a different extent. And yeah, it's incredibly, it's so beautiful and so powerful.
Maybe this is too intimate. How is our alliance going with your experience?
Fucking sucks, man.
I was gonna say it, but
No, it's great. There's been a huge up-leveling in our alliance, so to speak, in the last 2 months. Yeah, since we got here and made that commitment to go like all in together. My experience beforehand, when, you know, when we were just friends, really, is there were a lot of ways that I wanted to challenge you that I felt like you were resistant to, or you just didn't want. You didn't see you weren't interested in being a great entrepreneur, for example. And so it's like, okay, that's, you know, if you don't have the interest, the game I was playing is to get you interested, you know, and then you became interested, like really interested, and I saw that, and I was like, okay, let's move to the next level. But yeah, but there's always higher levels, and so that's what I'm looking to create next in a business format, is where men come together for a period of time, let's say 30 days, and we play as allies. No, you know, leave no man behind. You are your brother's keeper. You know, like, we're all in, and there's no excuses. There's no tolerating. There's no rationalizing.
oh,
There's no speaking in a weak way.
what I love about this is that you play a game for 30 days. It's only 30 days.
Yes.
It's not. It could very well change your life forever.
Yes.
But if nothing, it's just 30 days.
Yes.
So it's not like your life commitment.
Yeah.
30 days, you try out something you've never tried before, being an ally, like playing a different game, you know, and it could change your life. And
Yeah, and with the ice stands and the boot camps, it was only 3 full days, like 72 hours, and then about 72 hours, and there was some time before and some time after, like another workshop day after, but just 72 hours we're gonna play this game. But yeah, now I'm wanting to bring it to life. You know, I wanted to bring it. That was a difficult model because it was such an intense experience for people and so incredible. And I got all the accolades and testimonials and all that. But then people go home to their separate lives and worlds and commitments and relationships, and you're not physically present. You're not, you know. It's very challenging to maintain the level of vision and commitment and ally relationship. And actually, the reality is, at the boot camp, the level of the alliance is pretty low as well, because the game we're playing is I am their ally. I'm their ally, and they're willing to allow me to be their ally. But they're not my ally inside of that event. They don't even know what they're signing up for. They wouldn't even know what they're signing up for to do that. So
what do you? I'm watching my watch that doesn't exist. Aren't you about to announce something? How many hours you have?
yeah, well, just a couple hours. No, I have to announce a date, and we're gonna do our first 30-day all-out Brotherhood Alliance with men who are entrepreneurs and want to play a much higher level game of accountability and self-accountability, and play the ally game. So I'm not going to announce a date randomly. I'm going to put a little thought into it, but I am going to do it in the next couple hours.
The next couple of hours?
Yes.
When is, what's the deadline?
By midday, noon or 1 p.m.
That's 4 hours from now.
I see Julian Bales out there. He was part of a intense accountability program where John and I met inside of London Real Business Accelerator. I don't know if he's still watching. What's up, Julian? You guys are going through quite an intense. I don't know if you're still with London Real, are you? But they're the ones doing those.
I saw a video actually the other day.
What's the guy's name? David Icke? Is it David? I'm making his name wrong. But man, they're going through some intense shit over there. But they had an 8-week business accelerator program, so it's people who are or want to be entrepreneurs, and then they had a high level of accountability that they brought to it. But this is next level accountability. Anyway.
All right. So stay tuned for the announcement that's going to come in the next couple of hours. See you tomorrow.